Good morning, everybody.
Say 7.
I have a bad habit of talking over people. I noticed when I was looking at the footage we shot yesterday.
We all have.
I'm the worst. What are you drinking, Gunnar?
Coffee.
Me too.
It looks so Slavic what you have there. I'm drinking tea.
Slavic.
Yeah, in a no handle cup. Just
No. It has got a handle.
Oh, you look like you were
Small.
holding it.
Yeah,
it looks kind of British now that you show me the.
Now, Thaddeus, if you could read this. It says,
Riktiga man väger over. Yeah, I understand that. Real men are more than 90 kilos.
Yes, exactly.
I was there once.
I feel so was I. I feel left out now. Anyway, shall we jump into it?
Let's start it.
This is Týr podcast number 1,
Yes.
season 1, as far as I remember. My name is Hede, and I'm in Prague.
Hello, I'm Ted. I'm the drummer of Týr, and I am in Budapest.
And hello, I'm Gunnar, and I'm in the Faroe Islands. Play bass, by the way.
Where precisely in the Faroe Islands, if you don't mind?
Miðvágur.
Important.
Vágar, I think, for the English speaking.
Indeed. So this will be chit chat about some subject we found interesting. I suppose people who are listening to us now are wondering, most of all, when will we be on tour again? And that's a difficult question to answer. At the moment, not all tours that were planned for this year have been successfully postponed. They're working on it at the moment. I know that the booker doesn't like us giving out any details. He likes to give them out himself because he has his word to his image, his reputation to think about. If they give out details here and there that turn out not to be and end up actually happening, it goes over. It affects his reputation negatively. So what anything we can say here is things that have actually been scheduled and put a date on again. And that the only thing we have at the moment is the Heathen Heroes European Tour to start on the 15th of September
Next year.
That's
year.
a long time from now.
Yeah.
So it's approximately a year from now that we know for a fact. No, actually we don't. We have to wait till that time comes. I mean, who the hell knows with these COVID things? I mean, that's the plan at least.
Let's just see what happens, and I'm sure that all the fans are very understanding about all these things.
Yeah, because they have their own situations with this as well. Yeah. So that's all we can say about tours at the moment. The posters are out on Facebook and Instagram, and you can see all the dates there. It starts in Prague and ends in Karlsruhe in Germany, and it goes all over the northern Europe. Yeah.
And it's too bad that we didn't get to go to Australia this year.
Yeah.
That would have been a great one.
Don't get me started.
Very looking forward to that.
They are. Everybody is. So far as I know, no tours or festivals have been cancelled for us. It's all postponed, and our team is working on getting the dates back. We cannot give you any details until the booker has them nailed down as far as possible in this situation. So that's what we have at the moment. But the plan is definitely not to stop touring. Don't worry.
Oh, definitely not.
So, what's
silence?
Interesting. Awkward silence. I listen to a few podcasts myself these days, and they have these fascinating segues always. They talk themselves into the next subject quite fluently, some quite funnily even, but I have no idea how to. Anyway, so
the problem is we tried this whole thing yesterday, and it went rather brilliantly, but I screwed it up a little bit, the technical side of it. So that's why we have to do this all over again, and the funny stuff wasn't the talk yesterday, so sorry, that was my bad.
No. I think we also went impressively off track with some of the discussion threads. I mean, wow, how did you guys get to this subject from there? But let's try and avoid some of that and make it a bit shorter today, maybe.
That was about 12 minutes talk about the virus itself. So.
Yes, and then followed by 15 minutes about human feces.
Yes. But, I mean, if you're lucky, we're going to do that today as well. So
talk about poop.
Poop.
Yes, talk about poop and doing. The Viking used to poop and do stuff. And they left. So how's that for a segue? They used to do stuff like leave ships lying around. What I've been.
Ships. I see. Okay.
I didn't say shits, although I'm sure they did.
Oh.
And ships. There was on the news, Norwegian news, a few weeks ago. They found another Viking burial ship, apparently, in a mount in Gjellestad, in Norway. And it's the
not
first...
in Norheim. Maybe, not in Norheim.
Funny you should reference that. The actress Silja Torp was at this excavation in the news, asking if she could help them with the excavation or maybe get some exposure. They said, no, you can't touch anything, but you can pretend. So she took like one of these tiny shovels and said, dig, without touching anything. Anyway, this boat was found like 2 years ago, and they're just now excavating it. The first Viking ship excavation in Norway in more than a century. And
the last one was on Oseberg.
Yeah, when you see stuff like that, the Oseberg ship and some other stuff they have in Norway, it's unbelievably impressive to look at. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've been at if it's the one in the museum in Oslo. I've been there.
Well, it's a church, isn't it? Turn Museum.
Oh shit!
It looks like a church.
I
anyway,
just remember being in there, and it's actually, I think it was almost formed like a cross.
The church
the rooms.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I believe it was a church. Maybe it's not anymore, but that's a pretty damn impressive thing to see.
It was immensely impressive to see that handcraftsmanship, how they built those boats and all the ornaments and stuff like that they made. You just have to think about how long ago that is and what tools were available.
Right.
So that's I love that stuff.
The one in Oslo is called the Oseberg ship, I think.
Yes, it is.
It has these incredible ornaments on the beam.
Yeah.
And interesting thing is that they within the ship there were 2 women buried in the Oseberg ship. So it was not even 2, warriors, but 2 women. One over 80 years old, and the other was around 50. So
apparently a queen and her servant, they believe.
Yeah.
Now, funny thing, you mentioned poop before, and I'm gonna come back to that because amazingly enough, archaeological sites, all things we know about people is usually by examining the poop they find from people. By the poop they can see how they lived. So,
So remember to at least once in your life leave some poop outside.
Yes.
For future archaeologists.
Didn't we all?
I'm not sure I ever did know.
Never poop close to an archaeologist. You will just go through your feces.
There was once a find in Norway, some runes on a stone. They made the most incredible references from it. A few years later, a guy comes saying, no, I scribbled that some years ago.
Seriously?
Yeah. So they have to be careful, with what they say about what.
Right. Yeah.
That their reputation is on the line, a bit like our bookers.
A couple of years ago.
I don't remember the details. It was like vastly overinterpreted.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Anyway, what to talk about?
Well, what are you doing nowadays? Now that we don't have touring and studio work and stuff like that?
I do have a little bit of studio work. I have my home studio here. Yeah, well, not just that. I'm also recording and writing for Týr, and every now and then a little bit for Heljar. Yeah. So we made Surma. Well, that was done already in January, so that's a long time ago. But then we made an acoustic version of one of the songs, and I'm about to make a guitar playthrough for the same song as well. Reveal the Light Within, the song is called, and it was released about a month ago as a single. Next single comes on the 1st of October. The album will be out on 6th of November. And it's called The Light.
Very, very
close. The commercial for that song.
Should make it a disco version.
You should.
So that's what I'm doing, and then there's some work with the new web shop that we made for Týr. The office is right around the corner here, and it's just receiving stuff and categorizing it and then shipping it. I do a lot of. I started. Yeah, we started by having it here in the flat. Turned out to be a chaos quite soon, but because there's not much space here, even for the stuff that we have here. So we rented an office for it, and Anton comes there, our manager, every now and then, and
hi, Anton.
So that's where the magic happens. I when the lockdown started, I got into a good fitness routine. I started going to the gym and running, and so I spent some time on that, like a few hours every day. That's where my time goes.
Nice. Gunnar, what you doing?
Well,
having a whale of a time.
Yeah. Well, I became a carpenter.
Gotta watch those.
Just like the other guy. What was his name?
I got a full day job now.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
It's okay. I mean, we have nothing to do else, so you gotta make some money because we lost the whole income this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And thinking of that, it's those people who lost all their income and just like that. It's kind of mad to think about, really.
Yeah.
That from one day to another, you just know, oh fuck, I lost everything.
It's not too bad in the Faroes, but many other places, I mean, whole industries have just collapsed.
Oh yeah.
The music industry, for example. I mean, suppose if we were not that professional, we weren't making millions from touring, but suppose you did, it's all gone overnight.
Yeah, and just imagine the guys working in the background. I mean, roadies and sound engineers and light technicians and
all of them.
I mean, they don't have anything to do right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the musicians, at least they have, like songwriting or doing some kind of international projects, but
funnily enough, even that
supporting industry is totally dead.
Yeah, but funnily enough, even making music, when you have a day job, and usually I work in the evening as well, there's no time for making music.
That is true. Having a day job sets you back as a musician, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, but again, we have to do something.
The nature of
because funny enough, those goddamn bills, I wish they could get corona.
Why
that
doesn't
would be awesome.
Why doesn't the tax government get corona?
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was about to say, here in Prague, for example, there's a lot of local musicians who make a decent living just playing shows in and around Prague. And during the summer, there's a lot of outdoor shows, and they're not generally they haven't been as hard hit by the restrictions. So there are some musicians actually, you know,
Yeah, if you
relatively
play
unaffected, you know, on a
that,
smaller basis.
that's the same here. Those who play, do you call it singer-songwriters? I actually don't know.
Exactly.
You know, acoustic guitar. They can really play anywhere and still keep a distance and all that. So
Yep.
they actually make not the best living, but they do make a living here
Yeah,
as well.
the nature of the pandemic is such that touring will be the very last thing to come back, because our job is, you know, to cross borders and pack people, as many as possible, into a small room, and it's exactly the two things that will be the last thing to return.
Yeah. Although, for example, in Hungary, we have shows. I mean, but the maximum capacity is 500 people right now. So, but you have to wonder.
See again,
you have to
that
wonder.
doesn't make
It doesn't make
a
any
whole
sense.
lot of sense.
No. I mean, you have 500 people, and of course now the restriction is that the bars are closed. All bars and clubs are closed at 11 p.m. You know,
Yes.
you have 500 people crammed in a room until 11 p.m. But not afterwards. Not afterwards, because then it gets dangerous.
Apparently, the virus is nocturnal.
Oh, and of course, football games. Football games. They are on.
Yeah.
Full.
In the
fucking
Faroes,
banned.
they restricted the audience for football games. There's been some
They
matches
did?
played entirely without audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they had it here as well, but that was months ago.
Well, it makes
And
no
it's-
sense again, because you got what, 22 players on the field. They can greatly infect each other.
Well, they're running after each other, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get your head around the logic.
We're
Anyway,
back again to the virus.
Enough about the virus.
Yeah.
Gunnar, so you've been doing some construction, and
Yeah.
what exactly are you doing?
Well, it's all kinds of construction, really. So
Viking boat
everything
building,
that involves building a house. So
plumbing, electricity,
yeah,
water.
well, not electricity, but plumbing, yes, and
Mhm.
some masonry work, and but mostly carpentry.
I've seen some of your work, and I can let the audience know that Gunnar is extremely handy with tools. Extremely,
I'm handy
in
with
my
many things.
in my opinion. How about diving? Your hobby?
Well, I haven't done that for a long time. It's a sport you should not do alone, and it's difficult to find people to dive with up here. So I haven't been doing that for a long time, mainly because of that, because it's difficult to find anybody to dive with, and time and stuff like that. Haven't been that much around. So, but I hope to do it again. I hope to, but I have to practice the shit out of it before I even
Here we are
dare
back
go
to
in
shit.
into the.
Have you done a lot of diving in the Faroes?
I've done some, yes.
Are there any wrecks to see? Shipwrecks?
Yeah, I actually was involved in finding a wreck.
Really?
In Runavik. Well, not in Runavik. Anyway, in a fjord.
Skálafjörður.
We got told by an old guy who remembered where old what do they call it? A slope?
A sloop? That's
Sloop,
it's
yeah.
actually the English word, but
A sloop, yeah. It was
modern
an old
day
sloop, and
language doesn't use it much.
he kind of showed us where he thought it was the last time. So we tried to dive on those locations, and we actually found a wreck at 35 meters depth.
Wow.
Good shape.
How old is it?
I don't know, it's 100, something like that. I don't know.
I think the sloops started in the early 1800s and mostly went out of use by the start of the 20th century.
Okay.
Or
Yeah. So, well, that was fun, because it was the ocean here in the Faroe Islands is the water is very clear. It's not blue as in as in tropical waters, but it's very clear, very nice, lots to see. So
fascinating.
It was amazing to see this wreck, because if you ever looked at a Donald Duck movie or something and you see a ship laying on its side with a broken side and you can see through it.
Yeah.
We saw through it and we saw fish on the other side swimming around. It was amazing to see. So schools of
I really hope I could go with you someday. But
yeah,
we'd have to sell a few more albums first.
I have to pick that shit up again.
Yeah.
I'm very cautious about it because I have the biggest respect for.
People die doing that, man. If you're not careful.
Yeah. Well, there's not too many deaths, fortunately, but
it does happen.
It does happen, and you should have respect for it because
I guess more people, more tourists die while wandering off the trails in the Faroes.
While hiking, that is true. That is true. Yeah,
definitely. So, but there's a lot of very nice sites here to see, especially if you dive into a kelp forest. That's just amazing. It looks terrible from outside.
We were talking about that. Yes. I remember that.
When you dive through there, it looks like tunnels, cathedrals almost that you dive through, and it's amazing. And you'll see stuff there that you did not know lives in.
There's an old saying in the Faroese: "Makter I haven och så mycket till." There's many things in the sea that don't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of that, I know I was friends with a guy who is a marine biologist, and they have a research vessel in the Faroes. They go out and just dig up stuff or troll for stuff just to see what's there. And I think he said something like 80% of everything they pull out is not cataloged anywhere. It's like completely new. They have to find a Latin name for it, and
really?
to make a DNA
80%?
sequence. And 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll be amazed what is in the ocean. I mean, if you just take the depths of the ocean. Sorry, my English.
Depths of the ocean.
We haven't discovered anything yet.
Yeah.
If we take it into perspective. So I find the ocean extremely fascinating.
It is.
So.
Anyway, Thaddeus, what have you been doing lately?
Well, when I'm not on tour, I'm translating all kinds of stuff. Right now, I'm working on a very, very long and huge project for the Hungarian National Museum. It's a catalog with graves from the Carolingian and Arpadian time. It gets a bit boring by times, but I can pay the bills, and it's not the only project. I have two German novels I'm translating into Hungarian. This catalog I'm translating from Hungarian into German, and I'm working on some poems from a German musician. Poems.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes. But I'm not supposed to say.
Into Hungarian?
Yes, from German into Hungarian. Well, if I say a German musician, well, then you can guess who that
goes
could be. Yeah. So I'm quite busy. I go to the gym quite often as well, because if not, I would fall apart totally within days.
Well, I've been doing that as well, but often I've been struggling with my diets and stuff. I'm trying things out. Things are not working that well for me, but I don't stop. I don't give up. I just have to find whatever finally works for me, and so I have many failed tries at getting in shape.
like one guy said, you don't have to do it perfectly, you just have to do it well enough.
Yeah, but for me, I think there's some problems with my whatever I eat, because it's not the fact that I eat much or anything. It's just I don't know, something I eat, I guess. So
Stop eating.
I try to focus as well on eating healthy as well. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's really hard. Once when you go under lockdown and all you're really left, to make your own daily structure. There's no work. There's no, and you find out that it's not that easy. But once you have it, it's I find it quite easy to keep the daily routine. When there's nothing to disturb it, you just do the same things day in and day out, and I'm not sure it's the same with you, Gunnar. If your daily routine is was completely disturbed by the pandemic.
I don't know. I would just say that work hours are that's what disturbs everything. You're working all the time, and when you come back from work,
I can imagine.
You're wasted, more or less.
But
then again, the work is very physical. So maybe.
I should mention that for a few months we did get support from the government, because we have a limited liability company in the Faroes, Gunnar and I, and we pay taxes through there. So once the government put in the measures to help people who were out of a job, we were covered by one of those programs. So we did get some pay, not too much because we haven't made that much money, but enough to pay a few bills and buy a little food.
It was not enough to pay the bills, but
not in the Faroes. In Czechia, it goes a lot longer. But so that helped. That did help. Now that program's over, and I'm back to paying my bills by making grammar videos for YouTube. But I do enjoy that work. And even making this podcast, finally there's some real creative work, and I really enjoy it. And but it's going to be a long time before this podcast pays the bills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the eternal struggle of a musician, at least at our level. It's how the hell to pay the bills by music.
That's a good book title, The Eternal Struggle of the Musician.
How to keep on being a musician.
Absolutely true. I
I
tell people who want to start as a musician, I say, don't do it unless you absolutely have to. There are some people who really, really have to, like I would say the three of us, obviously. But then there are other people who would have a fine life, playing music on the side while having a career in something else, and they'll be just fine. And if they could, they should, because this is irresponsible. Won't you agree with that, Gunnar?
Yeah. Working goes fine for a very short while, and then that road thing always comes up.
Yeah.
And I missed even when we are on tour, when I can come home, and after 14 days I just want to go on tour
14 after
5
days I'm like, come on,
whatever,
when's the next thing going on? But
seriously, I think it has something to do with routine. When you're on the road, you have something to do all the time, even if as we know, there's a hell of a lot of waiting time. It's a waiting game. You still know what to do every night, and I think there's something very nice about that.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. That the everyday routine is the strongest and the most strict while on tour, and that's what I love about it. You wake up in your rumbling casket. You look outside. Okay, must be Colorado, Illinois, whatever, I don't know. But you see. Okay, this is day 4. We are arriving to this city today. Load in. Lunch, whatever, and everything is planned, and you even love the thing you're going to do in the evening, and every minute is planned. And I really have to say this, I just love it.
It's the best life there is, and
it is.
Suffering through some financial hardships like right now it makes it absolutely worth it, because when you see other people who have to get up at 7 a.m. to go to a job they hate to pay the bills, This is really a privileged lifestyle, and I feel bad even complaining about it when I see what other people have to do, because no, we have it good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not complaining.
I wouldn't say the pay is that good as a musician, but
No, but the
but
really
it's okay.
the basic thing here is nobody started this to get paid. We started this for very different reasons, and that's the bad part. I mean, yeah, they could pay us much less. We'd still do it because we're not doing it for the money. We just, as a consequence of how life is today, you need money.
It's a nice to have thing that you're getting paid for this, but it's I mean.
And the best thing about being on tour is that whatever money you get, you don't use any money on tour. Well, not much anyway.
Well, not of your own money, yes.
Yeah, and
so you can just
say those who are sailors say the same thing. They go out and make money. They don't use a penny the time when they're out. So
no
probably
stores,
their wives,
no stores
probably
on the
their wives
sloops.
do. But they don't use the money for anything, so
we're in the same situation, yeah.
Well,
Anywhoozy, that is the worst podcast segue you can ever use, but it's the only one that comes to mind. We lined up a few subjects here, which is an even worse segue about Thaddeus. You mentioned something about mythological creatures and the aspects of their names, and I thought it was a good chance to explain where the band name Týr comes from.
Right,
now, the very shallow explanation is, of course, it's the Nordic god of glory, victory, and heroism. But that's the version from about 1,000 to 1,200 years ago in Viking times in Scandinavia. It has a much deeper story. It's a Germanic original name, or as for the Vikings, it is of Germanic origin, and it was Tivaz, Tiwaz in Germanic times. These are reconstructed forms. They're not found anywhere so far as I know. But language reconstruction is a fairly established discipline at the moment, at least. and even before that, it comes from the Indo-European root, which also went to other languages such as Greek and Latin in names like Deus and Zeus and those names. It's the same word originally, and supposedly it comes from a Proto-Indo-European root that was I had it somewhere here. No, I completely lost it.
But T is still the name of the rune, right? Of the T rune.
Well, in Viking times, it was called the Týr rune. It may have been called that in Germanic times, but what is written in Iceland in the early in last millennium was Týr, Tyr, was actually the name of the rune. The Tivaz name of the rune, I think, is a reconstructed Germanic form.
That could be, yes.
But it comes from the Indo-European root Deus, Dyeus, and it means shiny. Refers to the day or maybe the sun, and it's the god of the day, daylight, and that's as far back as it has been reconstructed at the moment. And it came to mean God simply in Greek, Germanic, and I think Latin as well. As you can tell, I find this subject very fascinating, and now I've taken all your time by explaining what you should have gone through, Thaddeus.
No. I'm impressed. I have to say, I thought that this is gonna be a topic of a later episode of the podcast. But thank you for explaining this to us.
It might have been. I just felt we were slightly out of wind here, and I've been my fingers have been itching to get into this.
And you were inflating the sails again. Very good, very good.
Because this is before I studied music, I studied Indo-European linguistics at the university in Copenhagen. I didn't get a degree or anything. I did it for 2 years, then I switched to music. But this was exactly the kind of stuff we were studying. You know, how you compare the oldest, earliest attested levels of languages and find out how they're related. What would have been the language before that? Of course, there are no written sources of Indo-European. No runes. They had absolutely no writing apparently. But you have, you know, tens of languages that are descended from it, and you compare them all, and you make a theory which is testable, a scientific theory to see what the language would have been, and that's the comparative linguistics of Indo-European. Enough about that. I can see Gunnar's eyelids getting heavier and heavier.
If you saw my brain right now.
It's Homer's, clapping monkey.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's very interesting, but it's also kind of dry stuff.
Absolutely,
you have to be absolutely into it. But
it's
I
not until
I find everything interesting in this world. I mean, that is amazingly. It's interesting to see where language comes from and stuff like that, and I also learn from you where you can see the parallels between, if you want to learn a language. For example, I try to look into French.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak many languages. Well, I speak a few languages, but I had no idea that. I didn't know that the English apparently was a deviation from French.
Not exactly.
You could explain.
They have a lot of
it,
French loanwords.
What I mean is that you hear when you start learning some French, you suddenly you start to hear the English language woven in the French language,
Mm-hmm.
which is not the case. It's the English goes from there, I guess. You know how to explain it, but
yeah, English has a horrible amount of French loanwords or Latinized loanwords, which also remind of French.
But you see this through a lot of languages. You see words appearing again, just you twist it a little bit.
Exactly.
So it's quite interesting too.
Unless you're speaking Hungarian.
Well, Hungarian.
In which case you are truly lost.
Well, I mean, I think Faroese is just the same.
No. Faroese has parallels in English.
It has, of course,
Danish,
but I mean,
Icelandic.
if you listen to Faroese, it's just like it doesn't really sound like the continental Scandinavian languages. In the first few seconds, you're just listening. What the heck is this? Goblin language. I mean, I love the sound of it. I really love it. But it's so strange, the whole sound of it. I mean, when I listen to you guys talking while on tour, sometimes you switch to Faroese, and it's just like it's very soothing.
Uh-huh. I think it's the diphthongs that we are.
I'm not. I don't know what it is. I mean, I love the sounds of Scandinavian.
Maybe it's
languages.
just Gunnar's low and soothing voice.
Oh yes. That has to be.
Who was it that?
Of course,
somebody said
Terry is complaining in Faroese.
Somebody actually said, was it you guys who came with it? That somebody had said, "Do you guys actually understand each other?"
yeah, I can remember that. Wasn't that somebody from Unleash the Archers? Maybe.
Yeah, probably Scott.
Scott. Yeah.
You're just mumbling. Yeah. Not actually a language.
Yeah.
I'm sorry here. I'm just fumbling with my camera.
No worries.
With your balls? No. Oh, camera. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. So
Anyway, I suppose Hungarian has a lot of loanwords still, not that I could recognize them.
Yes. There are loads of loanwords from German and from Slavic languages as well.
Mm-hmm, I can imagine.
Yeah, but it doesn't really fit in the European language tree. It's there are still different several theories how it came to Europe and where the roots are to be found.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It is,
but not interesting enough. Next subject.
Space.
Space.
Anyway, we're up to 40 minutes.
Frontier.
Maybe we should save those spacey comments to next episode, and slowly wind down here.
Yeah.
It's been fun, and I hope this turns out to a real podcast in the end. As you can see, we're kind of mumbling and fumbling in the dark here, but I suppose we'll get better at this, as with anything we do in the long run.
Are you sure?
No, but I'm hopeful. We're not the giving up kind of guys, as
No.
anyone who made it to where we are in the music industry will know.
Oh yes.
It's been an experience, a
Yes,
new experience,
definitely.
and it's good to see Gunnar on social media, because he's not much on social media.
It's not my thing.
And actually, we haven't seen each other. Well, I saw Gunnar like a few weeks ago, but I haven't seen you, Thaddeus, for
Months.
quite a while.
months.
Our last show was in
England.
February. Yes, England.
Yes.
I mean that was in York. That was our last show. It was. I mean, that's longer than half a year. I mean, it's crazy. Really, I'm really thinking about making a new band for the time I'm spending here in Budapest right now, because I just have to. I have to be back on
Just
on
a
stage.
Hungarian Budapest band playing around there.
Yeah. I mean, there are still some nice small clubs here, and it's.
I do play here a bit, like just covers with my acoustic guitar in Victoria. We go to some bars and sing some covers. So
it's better than nothing. I mean,
yeah, get a bit of money, and it's fun actually. So
yeah.
I got asked about some of my friends to come and do that, but I went and watched them, and I went, I find it difficult to get into that club thing, because I need to stand on that stage and rave around.
yes. If you see Gunnar live, it's not the club thing. Absolutely
Right.
not.
That's true. That's true.
But well, I guess it could be fun to do one night. I guess
Do something
they-
with Terje.
Well, Terry doesn't do this kind of.
No, he doesn't either.
No. But he's doing his own project, which I find very exciting. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long project now. He's been working on it for years. Not that I shouldn't cast stones. I live in a glass house, but yeah, his project sounds quite good, and I'm actually looking forward to the release of that.
Yeah, definitely. Because the last thing I heard of it was pretty good stuff. So not so bad. I hope the best for that guy.
Maybe we'll have him on this podcast once we have some guests on. That would be,
Yes,
once he
be fun.
releases.
That would be fun. But
That would be fun.
It would be fun to see if you want to do that.
We'll make him.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's try and wrap it up. I would remind our listeners and watchers to follow us on Instagram, where we are Týr_official, and on Facebook, where we are Týrband, on YouTube, where we are user/Týrband, and on Twitter, where we are Týrband. And listen to our music on Amazon Music, Napster, Tidal, Apple Music, Deezer, or similar services. But those are the services that pay us the most. That's why I'm mentioning them.
Don't know half of them.
I don't either. But I just looked up a list of services who pay musicians the best. Unfortunately, Spotify is not close to the top. Amazon Music regularly scores best. I've never used it myself. I don't know how it works, or if it's an app, or if it's just online, or how on earth it works. Anywhoozy, while you're at it, please visit our website, Týr.fo, and see if you can find it in your heart to buy some merch from us. That would be nice.
Yay!
And this podcast will first be available to those who support us on Patreon. If you take a look at patreon.com/Týrband, you can see how that works. And maybe we'll put some extra material on there for the supporters to see. If the listeners have any questions, they can put them in comments wherever they listen to this podcast, or they can write to us at Týr@Týr.fo. And
that would actually be nice.
Yes.
Yes, to get some input from the listeners and to talk about whatever they want to hear us talk about.
Exactly.
And
I think that's what it's all about, actually.
That, let's say thank you for listening and see you in a month.
Bye.
Yay!